Good evening, my firing squad of the Killing Wall. Welcome to briefing number 60 over here at Hellfire Radio on the Hellfire Radio Facebook page. Tonight, I got a very interesting kill order to execute, but first and foremost, as our general orders are, I want you to donate to Kinko down there, buy one of his t-shirts, help him out. And also, we've got some other standing orders that I actually really am excited to talk about. Download Live 365 on a Live 365 app. Look for Hellfire Radio. We got some kick-ass shows there. You're going to love them. Also, don't be afraid to check us out at hellfireradio.com, where we're continuously kicking ass and we're streaming worldwide 24/7. And today's best in hard rock, hip-hop, and horror. Also, we've got some show announcements that are going to be coming up, by the way. We got Rockfest. It's going to be happening on July 15th through the 17th in 2021 out in Cabot, Wisconsin. Seriously, I would highly suggest you check that out. We got Disturbed, we got Stained, we got Theory of Dead Men, Steel Panther, Saint Asonia, tons of others. Not to mention we also got Limp Bizkit coming up on the line, Snoop Dogg, Korn. I'm serious, folks. This is kick-ass. Plus, believe it or not, I just realized that on this particular advertisement, it's mentioning the first band that I ever saw in concert, Queensryche. Rock on. Seriously. Also, you can check us out on Twitch. You can check us out on YouTube. You can check us out on Instagram. And as always, you can check us out here on Facebook Live and the hellfireradio.com page. So, let's get down to it, shall we? We got some troops reporting in, and I'm loving it. Okay? We've got Sergeant Page, Adjutant Page. We've got Troops Beth, my Kiwi brother there, James. Lieutenant Tyson's reporting. Oh, hell yeah. And we got Troop Gabby. I'm loving it. All right. So, here's who we're going after, folks. You want to know who we're going after tonight? I'll tell you who we're going after tonight. Hey, we got Mark reporting in. We're going after halogen headlamp wearing assholes. That's who we're coming after tonight. Now, some of you might not know what the hell I'm talking about. I'll tell you. But first and foremost, well, not first and foremost, I know I love saying that phrase in particular in order to be able to break up the monotony, but I highly suggest this, okay? I know it's a pain in the ass. Troop Curie! Hey, there's no such thing as too much fun for the day. No such thing! I know it's a lot to ask of you folks, but fuck it, I gotta say it. I need you folks to share this out to groups and timelines. Okay? All is. Share them out to multiple groups. Just copy the link. Okay? Go to your groups and post the link. Then hit share. Do it. Do it. And you want to know why I'm saying do it? It's because it's easy as fuck to do. And you want to know what? It keeps me on the air. It keeps Hellfire Radio afloat. And if you haven't already, go over to the Hellfire Radio Facebook page. Give it a follow. Give it a like. I'm telling you, it helps us out a ton. I can't stress that enough. So hopefully this gets shared out as much places as possible. So let's talk about the halogen headlamp assholes. I know that some of you have had to deal with these schmucks. I had to deal with these schmucks a lot. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Curie. Hopefully this keeps you off your freaking... This keeps it out of your head a bit. It's understandable, Troop Gabby. It's okay. You want to know what? You had a birthday. You were allowed to relax without any form of disappointment. Hopefully on Friday, the boss is good for their word. So, let's yammer. Halogen headlamps, for those of you that don't know, are those xenon motherfuckers that people put in their vehicles. They're so freaking bright you could read a book in your front seat at night. The kind that even if you flip that knob underneath your rear view, you know, to kind of like cause an offset of the reflection, it still blinds you. The assholes driver from the opposing lane coming at you with these bright motherfuckers meant to make your eyeballs hurt. I don't get it. I don't get it. I understand the necessity for brightness. Yeah. It ends up becoming a human. That's just it, Troop Gabby. That's just it. Here, I'm going to highlight your comment here because it makes a lot of sense. Yeah. People that put brights on and blind you to death. Here's the fucked up part of that. They don't even have to put their brights on. They're bright enough as fuck. Okay? Tyson. Folks, take a look at what Tyson says. Tyson says, the fuck you trying to trying to see deep in my rectum? Yeah, I know. Some of these damn headlamps, you gotta wonder, are you trying to do for like an amateur phrenology? Do you want to see how many freaking scalp pustules I got back there? Is that what it is? Every single time I see those lights, a song pops into my head. I hear blinded by the lights, roll up like a douche, which is exactly what they're doing. It's ridiculous. They don't need that. It's a status symbol, really. That's like those fucks that drive around in Jeeps. You've heard Jeep culture, right? I'm sure you have. Everybody that owns a Jeep thinks Jeeps are the greatest fucking thing in the goddamn world. Not only that, they got to customize the shit out of their Jeep. I mean, there was a meme for the longest fucking time where it was stacks upon stacks upon stacks upon stacks upon stacks of the over light bars. They say Jeep level 99. Really? I mean, I know people are obsessed with cars. Me, I can freaking build an engine blindfolded. But there's obsessed and then are you fucking kidding me? All right. Certain car cultures hurt my head. Jeeps, you want to know what? Yeah, huge light bar on the bumper plus the top and turn them on just because they're jerks. Yeah. Yeah. And all the while they do this while they're driving. They're fucking morons. They're time sinks, is what they are. That's what they are. They're time sinks and they're money sinks. You know, it's the ultimate manly vehicle to build to show that you're rugged. You want to know what it is? It's the hipster DIY vehicle, really. And you want to know what? Every single decade had their own version of that, if you really think about it. Okay? In the 40s going into the 50s, it was people that were taking army Jeep wagons and converting them into recreational. Gabby, if you want, tell me what your freaking younger brother did. I will gladly rip them apart. Okay? But yeah, the 50s going into the 60s start off with people converting old Jeep wagons into actual drive around vehicles because they started to market it. Okay, fine. You know, and then motorcycle culture became the big freaking thing. Okay, understandable. People tuning their bikes. I get it. Okay, you want to know what? I'm the same way. I own an 82 Nighthawk. Okay? Okay? In the 60s going to the 70s, it became the muscle car movement where motherfuckers were tuning freaking, unbelievable vehicles. The original Dodge Chargers, the original Ford Mustangs. I mean, I know somebody that was driving around a Hemi Cuda from way back in the day that was beyond beautiful. Okay? Muscle cars were the big thing in the 60s and the 70s. Okay? And then something happened. Something happened. The 80s hit. And then car culture kind of died off a little bit. Then it became just owning, the weird vehicles. Oh, God damn it, Tyson. You could not let that go, could you? You could not let that go. I mean, come on. And you want to know what, James? You kind of hit it on the head a little bit, okay? Because lately it's popular to go mudding because everybody and their mother wants to pretend they're from freaking South Florida. That's what it is. Lieutenant Tom, glad to see you reporting in. But the 80s, it came down to owning strange vehicles, like the DeLorean, okay, which not too many people owned, okay? The Shaggin' Wagon from the 70s became a little bit more popular to drive around in the 80s, okay? And I'm talking about the fucker with the wood paneling along the side, all right? Utility became the thing, but it didn't really start to explode until the 90s. And that's when you started to see minivans and sport utility vehicles. That became the fucking thing. Oh, no, that was the 80s, Curai. That was the 80s to own fucking dune buggies. Dune buggies and quads was the thing in the 80s. And your BMX like motorbikes. That was the thing. Lieutenant Takara. Rock on. VW bus was more in the 70s, but how many people legitimately took time to like work on those? They were very much like the old school VW Bug. When it broke down, you were fucked. There was no way in hell you were going to repair that son of a bitch. It was fucked. And the 90s came around and you had everybody and the mother having to own a fucking minivan, a Dodge Caravan. Okay. No, Tom, that started in the 90s. That legitimately started in the 90s. The Jeep Grand Cherokee, I think, was starting to become a thing. I think Ford at one point even came out. Ford came out with an SUV back then too. Wasn't the Ford Explorer. When the aughts came out, it kind of like went in reverse. It was guys purposely trying to get raised kits on their freaking on their Ford F-250s. A dually was like the greatest fucking thing a person could own. It became trucks with big tires. We need big tires on all these things. You know what? If you put a fucking lift kit on a truck, I hope you fall off while trying to get into the cab. Okay? I really hope you fall off the step stool that you need. All right? And break your fucking neck. All right? You own a lift kit, you're basically saying your penis is so fucking small that it needs to be studied. Glad to see you reporting in, Rob. And the other thing that started to build in the early aughts was the Honda Civic culture. And you want to know what? I blame the Fast and the Furious movies for that. Hands down, without a doubt. Okay? Hands down, without a doubt. Okay? Because the second that fucking movie came out, and I make it a rule now. I make it a rule. And this is one that every single responsible individual here that's watching, I want you to follow this rule. The second a Fast and the Furious movie comes out, wait till about 2 or 3 weeks until the movie is out of the theaters before going on the road again. Do you know why? Because you got every little shit mongrel and piece of crotch fruit that asked their mommy and daddy for a fucking Honda Civic to go blazing on the damn road trying to do freaking quarter miles in freaking traffic. And it's also these little schmucks that spend all of their fucking mommy and daddy allowance money on NOS kits and fucking tricked out fucking kits in order to be able to race their friends because it needs to be a status symbol for them. And they want to actually learn how to weave into traffic because all they want to do is emulate some sort of fucking bullshit that they saw in the movie. But they're going to say that it's some kind of tribute to Paul Walker, who back before those fucking movies didn't even know he existed. Give me a fucking break. I'm sorry that your brother is being a fucking stingy little shit. He needs to get off his ass and start helping out with the bills. Honda Civic is the prostitute of the automotive industry. You could put anything in it and it'll keep on working. Also in the 2000s was the hybrid movement. That's when you started to see a Prius becoming the new thing to own. Tuner kids. That's a good one, Tyler. Tuner kids. Those little shits. Oh. The fucked up thing is they got talent when it comes to actually making a good car. The problem is that they put way too much fucking emphasis on what it is that they plan to use it for, which is roughly quarter-mile sprints. They're not thinking about long distance. They're not thinking about usability and versatility. They're thinking about the short quarter mile, which is all those fucking cars are good for. And let's face it. They're doing it because they want to get laid. I could build a nice six-banger blindfolded. Okay? But if you were to put anything like that in the hands of a kid with a Civic, his freaking eyes would glaze over. They never learned general automotive. You want to know what the most versatile car ever owned was? Most versatile car I have ever owned, ironically, was a Plymouth. I owned a 98 Plymouth Neon. That car saved my life. And I'm not talking about the Dodge Neon. I'm talking about back when it was still a Plymouth. They were built a little bit differently and the frame was a bit more sturdy. And I speak from experience. A Plymouth Neon can take a Honda Civic in a heartbeat as far as strength. And by strength, I mean if you were to put the two of them into a collision, the Civic will cry like a little bitch and fail to work. A Neon? Neon will keep on running. The Neon will take one look at the Civic, shake its freaking head, dust off its shoulders, and be like, you hit like a little bitch. You want to know what SUVs are, Tom? I'll tell you what an SUV is. SUV is the equivalent of a man purse. That's it. It's like men want to show off their cars like women want to show off their purses. Let's be honest. They both carry things that we don't think could possibly fit in them. We always think there's no room, yet mysteriously there is. We have a tendency to lose personal items in both of them for years and not even realize that they're in there. And the only time either one will go into either one is if they know they'll get laid. Tell me I'm wrong. Boobs are part of standard equipment, Gabby. And you want to know what? I've seen them in every single possible size, and every single one of them are beautiful no matter how they are presented. I have never seen an ugly pair of tits. I've seen some ugly faces sitting on top of tits. And by ugly faces, I mean the personality behind the veneer. But I've never seen an ugly set. I've never seen an ugly rack. Ever. And ironically, that's what we would call the spot on top of the roof of a car. The rack. Or the headlamps. And I know it sounds chauvinistic as fuck to compare cars to purses. And my neon, yeah. Elvira had xenon headlamps. And that's a sight that I do not mind going blind seeing. Which ironically is very freaking accurate. Because the longer that you stare at Elvira's tits, the more likely as a guy you will go blind. And I used to work at a Saturn dealership, Tom. And the longer you look at a xenon headlamp, you will go blind. Totally worth it. But men want to show off their purses. I'm sorry, cars. Usually the bigger the car, the more prestige they have. Elvira will always get it. Cassandra Peterson is my one Super Mega Terra Omega crush. And Natalie Dormer. Somebody asked me what actress I wish I could get with, and I couldn't think of her name. Natalie Dormer. That was her name. But then again, Paige, you gotta look at it like this. You take a look at a woman with small purse. Small purse stuffs her bra. Pontiac. The problem with Pontiac is it had a lot of manufacturing issues. One of the last cars I owned was a Pontiac. I owned a Pontiac GT. And Keely, you said it best. Yeah, the good ones have taken and the available ones have been ridden hard. Usually got a... Yeah, that's what I had, a G6. But it was a lemon. Shit, the comparison between women and cars, it's pretty fucking accurate now that you think about it. Wow. That metaphor, Adjutant Amelia, that freaking metaphor is accurate, isn't it? It's insane. As the Shrimp Eggplant Squad. Oh, yeah, I know Shrimp Dick. You see, my favorite cars, and this was something my good friend Andy once told me years ago. My old CO. Sheena, I ain't seen you in a minute. How you doing? Thank you for reporting in. Japanese cars or cars made by Japanese companies. Sure, you can, Tyson. Um, they are not going to nickel and dime you with small problems. But when you get them, when you do get a problem, it's usually a big one. A lot of American-made cars have small problems, but the thing is they'll only give you small problems. And if you address the small problems, you could basically have a car running for 50 years, no problem. However, Nissan, Hyundai, Honda, Toyota, they have Subaru, they only ever have a big problem if it's a problem. I have had Nissans most of my life. There's been very few American cars I've owned. I've had 2 Plymouths, a Pontiac, a Mercury, and those are my American cars. And I've had nothing but Japanese cars in between. See, I wouldn't mind. I like a Ford, but I'd like a Ford Mustang. I would like a Ford Mustang. The more angular the body, the better. I don't like the rounded body types. Like, no. I'll never buy an Italian car. I'll never own a Fiat or a Ferrari. For me, it comes down to a vehicle being reliable, able to get the high mileage without any issues. The O2 sensors can't keep fucking failing on me. Has a decent enough exhaust system. And if I need to, I have no problem pulling the header off, replacing the gasket myself, changing out the plugs, the belts, being able to work the timing chain myself. Easy enough access to the freaking exhaust manifold as well as the intake manifolds. And if I need to, change out the freaking cylinders and headers myself. Which I can all do. If my car throws a rod, I know I'll be able to pull the rocker and be able to freaking replace the rod myself. Pain in the ass? Yes. I can't fix a transmission to save my fucking life, but that's awesome, Gabby. Me, I'd love. You want to know what I want to do? I'd love to be able to restore cars to factory mint. Legitimately find a rust bucket. Something that legitimately you take one look at it and you're like, there's no fucking way in hell this is ever going to run. And then make it run. Make it run well. And that's the kick, Tyson. Make sure it's taken care of well. I did a briefing on used car salesmen a while back. It's one of my most viewed ones. And it was after my Pontiac died on me. And for I had it for 2 days before the catalytic converter went. And then it completely and totally crapped out on me on in August. So I had it roughly for about 6 to 8 months. where I could say it was still running effectively. Otherwise, I was relying on freaking Uber to drive me. I'd want to rebuild it and then sell it to somebody that I know would appreciate the vehicle. Because I know what it's like not to be able to get a vehicle. And you see, movie inspired vehicles bother me. You know, like people that want a V12. Why? You have any fucking idea how much of a pain in the ass that damn engine is? I hate rotary engines. Ford Shelbys were okay. Getting the timing right on that son of a bitch is a little. Ugh. Plus, it's hard to find parts for Shelby these days. You know, parts are expensive. People know that car culture is making a comeback like a son of a bitch. I have a feeling you would, James. But then again, you're in New Zealand, different car culture. Rotary engines are good if you want something that can handle what's the best way to put it? There's something in the air out there that classic car intakes don't take well. I don't know what it is. I've heard stories from people out there that their old school piston driven engines are just not, they don't do well out there for long. Rock on, James. If I wanted to ever own a movie style vehicle, give me the Tim Burton, and it's the only time I'll ever say anything in regards to good when it comes to Tim Burton. Give me the Tim Burton Batmobile. Tyson, I'd love to get my hands on a Tesla specifically because I can't hear it. You know, first time I ever drove in a Prius, it freaked me out that I couldn't hear it, you know, anywhere near as much. But then again, back then, I was used to driving around in a 96 Mercury, where when you turn that engine, you heard everything. Old Mustang's good, Sheena. What year? See, we're turning this into a car talk now. I think tonight's episode's going to be a short one, so let's just call it what it is, okay? Halogen headlamps on a fucking car, ridiculously stupid. And if you fucking put them on a goddamn car, you need to have your head examined. You need to be considered the most inconsiderate person on the planet. I suggest two to the chest, one in the head. Call it a fucking night with that. How y'all like that? You like that freaking kill order? They can, Tom, but they don't automatically. You have to actually get the mod for that. 67 fastback's okay. Here's a car. I want you guys to tell me what you think of this. Okay? There was a car that kind of went right under the radar for a lot of people, and it was a daily driver. It wasn't a muscle vehicle. It was made by Plymouth back in the late 70s. And a lot of people really did not give it any credit because it wasn't exactly an aesthetically pleasing vehicle. But the irony is that it lasts a long time. You couldn't kill this thing. and it was a 1978 Plymouth Horizon. Is it officially Veterans Day? Look it up.
I mean, I know it's Veterans Day in Canada.
Is today Veterans Day? Like, as in today's date, not yesterday's date?
As in November 11th.
Thank you. God damn. Well, for you, it's tomorrow. For me, it's right now. Fuck. All right. It's Veterans Day, which means I gotta follow suit. Still got my tags. Prowler was cool. Who wants to hear military stories of my time when I served? Since it's Veterans Day. Sorry. It's funny. I'm almost on the verge of tears for a second. I remember when I first got these. It's funny. My family never really had that much faith in me growing up. And sorry. A little on the emotional side. I was that weird kid in the family. Always wore suits. Wasn't really seen to be too much of a physical individual. I mean, yeah, I boxed, but hey, back at you. And they legit thought I was joking when I told them I enlisted. They legitimately said, no, no, you didn't. But yeah, I did. My mother tried to tell me not to go. Understandable. The whole idea, if you go, that's when war will break out. Okay. But I went. And I went Air Force. And they all thought I'd get sent home within a week. No lie. They all thought this kid, he plays too much fucking video games. He's too much of a geek. There's no way in hell the military will shape him up. So you can imagine the shock when I finished basic and they got told to fly out to Lackland for graduation. They hadn't seen me. The entire time. So when graduation came, it completely and totally, I want to say, kind of made them go, you're not you. Because I dropped down to about 160 pounds. I looked tired. And it was the proudest my mother had ever been in me. It was evident, which is weird from her, because she wasn't exactly the most affectionate of people. I mean, yeah, there was some sense of like pride to it, but at the same time, it was almost shock. And whenever my mother would express any kind of level of affection, it was always very short lived, you know, because she was always the tough one in the family, but it affected my mother the most. And then, then I got to my first duty station. And one of the things they tell you is what base do you want to get stationed at? They give you what they call the dream sheet, where you wish you could get stationed. You know, and of course, I put Fort Dix and McGuire Air Force Base, which was basically the joint base out here in Jersey, because I wanted to be near family. I did, and come to find out that that thing is basically just an exercise in futility. You never get where you want to go on your dream sheet, unless you were in my class and you weren't me. Everybody got where they wanted to go. I was the only one that got sent somewhere else. There was a guy who legitimately wanted to get stationed at Minot Air Force Base in North Dakota. And it's funny. I spent my first 2 weeks being active duty in the stockade. It's a funny story. My our instructor was telling us where our first duty station was going to be, and they were telling everybody where they were going to be going, and they got to my name. And when he did, oh sorry, forgive me, he stifled a laugh when he said the name of the base, and I bled blue, which is kind of, it's a, you know, term for people that love being in the Air Force. They know all the bases of the Air Force, all this other shit. They know all the various different types of airframes. They know the individual roles that every single particular AFSC has. They know the UCMJ inside and out. And he said this base, and I had never heard of it. That should have been red flag number one. And then the fact that he stifled a laugh before he said it was red flag number one. Then he said the base, and I had never heard of it. That was red flag number two. Then the prior duty servicemen that were in there cross training to get into the same profession that I was entering into, which means they were doing something else, but they decided to change particular careers within the Air Force, basically to a different job. They had heard of the base, and they were giving me reassurances instead of, oh man, that's kicks ass. No, they were giving me reassurance. They said, don't worry about it. You will only be at that base for a short amount of time, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Which really made me go, okay, what the fuck, in my head. But, well, my jersey came out when they told me the name of the base. All right. When I asked, well, where is this base? And he said it's in South Central New Mexico. Without skipping a beat, my jersey came out and I filed said, did I fuck your daughter and not realize it? I was in the stockade for 2 weeks after that. I caught shit from my COs the second I got to my duty station because they were wondering why the fuck I hadn't arrived yet. Then they told them. I didn't have to face a court martial. I just got hit with an insubordination charge. But then when they found out why, they dropped the charges after 2 weeks. So I was sitting in a freaking jail cell for 2 weeks in the middle of fucking Biloxi. And from there on, I adjusted. I was going from major metropolitan area out here in Jersey to New Mexico. And that was a change. But the one thing I kept saying to myself was, holy fuck, dude, you're in the United States military. And you're in the Air Force of all branches. The smart branch, they called it. And, you know, I'll rip into the other branches consistently, but then again, I've kind of earned that right because I'm one of them. It's like you can rip into your brother or sister day in or day out. But if you ever find out that somebody outside the family rips into your brother or sister, you're done. You're done. And the only thing your parents are ever going to do to you after they find out what you did is identify you. I had no problem breaking the teeth of somebody making fun of a Marine. You ever look at an army troop the wrong fucking way while I'm around? Plastic surgeons are going to consider you a challenge. You rip into a squid in my presence, people are going to start calling you a contortionist. Even Coast Guard. If they could ever pop your joints back into place, you let me know. Because I'll be right back there the next fucking day to break them all again. Being part of the military is a brotherhood. We all watch each other's backs. We'll all gladly take a bullet for one another. But here's what's even more ironic. Take a bullet for every single one of you too. I did. I took a 74 round right across my fucking right knee. I took a bit of shrapnel to my forehead. And I'd do it again. Because I'm Joe Pesci like that. Ever watch Casino? Think about the line Joe Pesci gave when he's talking to the accountant. I'm that stupid. We serve you. Ultimately. There are some of us that don't realize our orders are stupid. And that's a conflict. Because we're trained from day one. Follow orders. But we're well within our right to say that if orders are stupid, we can tell them to fuck off. But that's a very, 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 very hard fucking thing to break. I've done a lot of shit in my life. A lot. But to this day, I will never break my word because my integrity is number one. Integrity first. Service before self. And one that I always expect of everybody is excellence in all we do. 3 core values of the Air Force. I follow them every day. Every day. You know, and we get ripped into every day. There's somebody I hear talking shit about the military at one point or another. And regardless of what the military gets associated with or the stereotypical mentality of somebody that was in the military, you know, be it party affiliation or whatever. At the end of the day, we're human. And we give a fuck about every single one of you. Don't fault us for our minds. A lot of the training that we received got us through a lot of tough shit. Gave me a lot of coping mechanisms. I'm not going to lie. But that comes with a price. And I'm totally comfortable in saying I'll gladly pay it again. If there was ever another conflict and they called upon the troops that were retired, be like, where you want me. Because I made that promise. And like I said, I'm a man of my word. And that's gotten me in trouble a few times. Tyson, I'll tell you this, you didn't miss much. And yes, I can rip into the Marines. You know why? They just had a birthday. I'm allowed to rip into them a little bit. Because I don't think you like the taste of crayons or Elmer's glue. See, I'm allowed to rip into the Marines. I'll give props. You want shit get cleared? You call in the Marines. You want shit to get tactical? You call in the Army. You want to make sure the waters are safe? You get a hold of the Coast Guard and the Navy, above and below. And when you need to get out or perform what we call Operation Extreme Redundancy, today we're going to make this crater even bigger. You call us up. And the one reason why, I love the Air Force so damn much is because there is 2 words in every single Marine, Navy, Army, and Coast Guard vocabulary. 2 words. You know those 2 words are that nobody can fuck with? Those 2 words, airstrike. We win. God damn, that's fun. We'd pull an FFE, fire for effect. I think I'm going to end it on tonight. And I know that some of you are saying thank you for your service, but you know what? No. Thank you. Thank you for still being here for our service. Because all of you are why we do it. That's where I'm going to end it tonight. I'll see you all tomorrow for tomorrow night's briefing, episode 61. That's a Roger Maris reference, for those of you that don't know. From the Killing Wall, I'm your rank commander. Thank you for the Happy Veterans Day. Dismissed.